I've got one for you. I'm here with Chris, and if you don't know already, we're gonna have to tell you. So Chris, thank you so much for joining us here. We're with DLive, and please tell the DLive Chat Nation who you are, if they don't already know, and about your channel and what you offer to them.
Absolutely. So for those of you out there, my name is Nicholas Merten from DataDash. I do a YouTube channel in the cryptocurrency space. I've been doing traditional investing over the last 7 to 8 years, and I've been taking some of that knowledge into the cryptocurrency space. You know, it's been a lot of fun kind of seeing the psychology and the kind of craziness in traditional markets and seeing that amplified in crypto in this new emerging asset class. So that's where I've been really focusing over the last few years.
So when you saw the similarities, right? We'll say old fintech and new fintech, just for this conversation right now, right? Blockchain, dApps, old. Did you see a lot of misses in the market that clearly the blockchain could identify?
Absolutely.
And approach? What was one of those misses that shot out to you?
Yeah, so actually just a little bit of personal kind of perspective for me. Like there's nothing more that kind of like grinds my gears and gets me kind of going in the day by thinking about all the kind of minor inefficiencies we don't think about in the world that have become the norm. If you actually take a look at the cost for merchant transactions from the 4 major debit card providers, they process about $22 trillion of payments with an average fee of about 2.5%. That's about $600 billion of annual cost to merchants and consumers, right? That's hidden, we don't see it. And along with that as well, with outbound wire transfers and just general money transfers across the world, that's another $550 billion. So we're talking about over $1 trillion each year of inefficiencies and transactions.
Institutionalized money.
Exactly, yeah, and it's money that the banking sector's sucking up, and there's a lot of other ways that they do it as well. When you put money in your savings account, it used to be back in the 80s, you used to be able to earn 6 to 8% on your money. Nowadays, you earn 0.09%.
And you get a turkey.
Exactly.
For opening up an account or something, right?
They'll give you a lollipop on the way out.
Oh, if you're lucky. They'll give you a breath mint on the way in to make sure they have to deal with you.
So that's the kind of stuff, absolutely, man. I'm glad you see that. It's the thing that kind of drives me personally, and I think in any industry, it's the reason why we saw Bitcoin as the first iteration of successfully really using blockchain, and that is against all the inefficiencies of finance, to make money cheap to transfer, to have our wealth outside of the banking system. That's exactly what I'm really driven by.
When did you make a prediction, whether it was a company being successful or failing, that you said, oh, right, I knew that was going to happen? When did you have a prediction, and what was that prediction?
Oh man, so I mean, there's so many different markets. I consider myself a macro investor, so I've always loved finding emerging trends. Well, I have a really funny story about how I first got into investing. I made an investment split between 2 companies, one in the solar industry. I was investing in an early stage Chinese solar company, and another one was in a medical marijuana penny stock. So I got to, it's very funny, you know, because both of those are very emerging industries, and actually long term both have performed very well.
Right, it's good to hear though.
Yeah, no, exactly.
But who hit? Let's hear the story.
Well, that's the funny thing is there was one of the trades was profitable, was the solar trade. I made about 30% in 1 month. I did some research on the company and had prediction that it was time for an upswing. And then outside of that as well, on the penny stock, I lost about 50%. So it's nice. It's actually both of the profit and the loss actually kind of neutralized each other out to a decent degree. So it was a good learning experience, and it taught me again to be much more smarter about where I put my capital and to find a more favorable risk to reward profile.
So we say, shit or get off the pot, or don't even unbuckle your belt if you're not going to commit to that buy.
Yep.
All right, I like it a lot. So in looking at emerging trends, right, we're in the end of 2019. What do you like on the horizon for 2020? What were you right and wrong about for 2019?
Oh man.
Let's put it to the fight. We have to.
Yeah.
If we don't hold ourselves accountable.
Let's be critical first. That's a very good point.
Just for a second.
Yeah. So on the critical side, thinking about where I was wrong in 2019, on my channel, I try to talk about where the crypto space is mainly going to move over the next few years. And one of the things I was very eager, and this was even in 2018 as well, I was very eager to see institutions getting involved in crypto through a Bitcoin ETF, the kind of institutional on-ramps for the trillions of dollars that are in retirement accounts through pension funds. And we didn't see that. We haven't seen that just yet, and it's become very clear that we're not going to see it until the next coming years, when there's much more regulatory compliance and understanding about how governments are going to regulate crypto, as well as how we're actually going to build these financial products. But one thing that I'm very eager in looking forward to.
It's a lot of unknown.
It is.
That's a lot of unknown unknowns and fear not moving. So this is really when we need our innovators that throw it to the that take those risks. Absolutely. And with the regulation afterwards, and they just smack to show that you don't need this level of regulation, because guess what? This isn't a financial institution. it's not governed by the rules and the laws that you're setting out.
Yeah,
Interesting.
absolutely. I think it's a beautiful message, man. And I think as much as I think regulators, I don't have a negative connotation on regulators. I think
Right.
a lot of them are great people.
Right.
The issue is that the regulators aren't playing as catch up as fast as they need to. And the issue now is, no matter what, it's like the internet, right? These technologies will grow. They will continue to foster. I think it's a matter of regulators coming to some middle ground and realizing that this technology is here to stay. The inefficiencies, those potholes that we talked about in the financial sector that cost trillions every year,
Absolutely.
are going to be filled eventually by better technology. So on that question of something to look forward to, I think that over the next year, the real revolution we're going to see is that we're going to see companies come into the forefront that allow individuals to actually become their own bank. We're going to get back to the roots of cryptocurrencies, where over the last decade, we've really kind of abandoned the principles. We have all of our money on centralized institutions. We're trusting these big, large players, just like the traditional banking sector, to hold our money. And we're completely going back on all the benefits of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies. So I think that's going to be a change. I think we're going to make it simple, and we're going to make it seamless for the average user, so we can bring the less than 1% of people we have in crypto into a larger number of multiple people across the world, hopefully billions.
The hardest thing to do is change human behavior, right? And we're falling back, and we're falling. Hopefully this new generation to look at this, to look at this, my little cousins, you're inefficient in a lot of your processes. And that mindset is, I think, how a lot of folks are going to find themselves become profitable, but also enjoy what they're doing. This is not just always about money, right? I've spoken to a few guys here. They're here because they love the innovation and the service that they're providing, and they make a good living, not the best living in the universe doing,
Absolutely.
but they make a good living because they are taking they're taking the old guard and they found a new way to implement.
Absolutely.
Right? And so I love that. So the sectors that you like, they can be most beneficial by applying blockchain. What are those sectors?
Finance is obviously key.
Fintech, right.
Yeah, fintech obviously. I know it's kind of an obvious answer, but there's also some other industries. I mean, it's the same thing with fintech. You're looking for hopefully multi-$100 billion, if not trillion-dollar inefficiencies in the way that we communicate or rely on trusted institutions that cost a large amount of the expenditure in these industries. So with supply chain logistics, that's another obvious one. There isn't actually estimated, it's somewhere in between $800 billion to $1 trillion in cost in the sector, simply between counterparties interacting with one another. So the companies themselves have a lot of incentives to push forward past this, to build a better system. And having something like a distributed or blockchain-based network is something that could definitely push forward.
Yeah, shipping and logistics, I think that is, imagine going to every port, having to literally pull physical papers.
Documenting that, and yeah.
Of decades of work to really get a robust analysis of what's happening right now and really look at the problem and come up with a fantastic solution.
And that's somehow the norm in the 21st century, where everything is digital. I can send you a file, a message, or I can do a call for free across the world through WhatsApp, through Facebook, through all these applications that we commonly use.
But our produce, our clothing, this is all stuck on paperwork at John's desk,
Yes.
and he's grabbing a few things. That's absolutely amazing. So we have a lot of entrepreneurs, innovators, developers that are always coming to the channel, coming to BlockShow, coming to your channel to be inspired. What's two pieces of advice taken from the past 6 months of looking at new companies, watching old companies fail, looking at the state of the market and all of your experience wrapped in? What's two pieces of advice you can give for our innovators, our entrepreneurs, and our guys out there in DLive?
Yeah, the first thing I would say is to look past to history. I know history can sometimes appeal as boring to many people, but you can learn so much from previous market cycles and emerging technologies, all the way back to the 1800s with the railway boom, to the dot-com bubble just a few decades ago with the internet. And see how human psychology leads these kind of parabolic cycles of excitement around new technologies, and understanding that there is basically a general bell curve where we have an initial set of excitement, and then after that, a decline on that excitement, and then something of a return to the median, right? So something in between where we actually see some real progress, some real utility, the technology 5 to 10 years out actually building. And I think that's what we're seeing from 2017.
We're seeing that cycle right now. We had a conversation. We had our marketing period, is what I lovingly call the charlatan era.
Yes.
So
Yes.
Marketing on the technology. I've never heard, what are these words that I keep coming across on the news and everywhere in life? And we're in the time now that the folks that kept their head down and focused on execution, they're rearing their head 2020, 22, and they're coming with actual, remember, it was just a white paper. What's your product?
Yep.
I raised $10 million with a white paper. Zero product.
I'll tell you that I would bet money that there's probably a chart somewhere that'll show you the larger amount of money being raised and the lack of actual development. And the reason why is I'll bring up a second point to your original question and stuff, but one thing I learned actually working out of Silicon Valley for a while is you see a lot of companies raising exorbitant amounts from venture capitalists, just like in crypto with ICOs and IEOs. And you find a direct correlation with the actual amount of development that they do. So I was working in a project management company. We were self-funded. We were always on the grind. We were putting out about a feature every week, so 52 features in a year on average, right? And our competitor that raised $300 million in this case didn't actually put out much features. They put about 1, 2 features.
I was going to
out.
say 4 tops.
Yeah, exactly. It's single digit, right? And you would think with more money, that would mean more resources, therefore more development, but it's actually something that comforts companies. You need to have that kind of drive to work on flow amounts of resources. And we've seen some of the companies that were aiming to build things in the blockchain space who did ICOs and raised tens of millions of dollars. There are people now who got small grants. Uniswap is an example of this. It's a decentralized exchange. It was one developer who got a grant from the Ethereum Foundation, and he was able to do what many projects raised millions of dollars to try to accomplish over a 2-year time frame. Wow. One last point, though, to your question about kind of something that I could give away to people. I think as we enter into the next cycle to hopefully get more people involved in the cryptocurrency space, is to focus not so much on trying to understand so much the technology, but to try to preach the utility of cryptocurrencies. Right. So there's a lot of great applications coming out that are very, they provide benefits that are very clear to individuals, right? You can earn much better interest rates on your money, as we were talking about, compared to the banking sector. You can send money across the world practically instantly, and along with that as well for much of a fraction of the cost compared to what the standard transaction fees are. $45 for an outbound wire transfer. It's ridiculous, and it's sometimes hitting some of the poorest of not only Americans but people across
emerging market. Absolutely.
Yeah. So there's a lot of things very clearly that we can sell as a use case for crypto, whether it be Bitcoin or stable coins. And I think it's most important to focus on that utility because people get that instantly. You don't need to understand blockchain or consensus algorithms.
Right.
So again, let's keep the technical jargon for the actual techies and the developers. It would be like me trying to explain how a Facebook message is sent, right? All you need to know is, can I send a message to you, right?
And will he get it?
Yeah,
Thank you.
exactly.
Absolutely. I think that's a fantastic point. I look forward to chatting with you some more and talking about the state of crypto and blockchain in this crazy world of ours as we watch an entire world be rebuilt on proper technology.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate you so much.
Man,
Thank
thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Oh, thank you.
Great conversation.
No, you man, I got to chat with you some more. You're going to be like, is this Chase on the phone? What the hell are you doing, man? I thought you were in Berlin. I am. That's why I'm calling you.